Welcome to episode 208 of the Campus Comics Cast. And as the Mississippi and Ohio River rises, so does our episode count. This is Scott Reed, and I'm joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison.
And this is our April pre-orders episode. But first, I thought I would throw out some announcements. With all of the upheaval going on at Diamond, there have been a few publisher announcements, some things about self-publishing, some things about Kickstarters. So I'm really just going to throw out some notes and might give you a chance to see if you want to comment on any of these things.
Okie doke.
So let's talk about some publisher moves. Now, some of these may have happened previously, and I just didn't notice. But Titan Comics is now at Lunar. I don't know if you noticed that in the Next Phase catalog.
I did.
Okay. Now, were they in the Next Phase catalog last month?
No.
Okay.
They were with Dynamite still in the previews catalog.
Okay. All right. That's what I was thinking. Now, Dark Horse and Distillery are now at Penguin Random House. Now, Distillery is definitely a recent announcement because I actually have an email from them about that announcement. I don't know if Dark Horse has been at Penguin Random House for a while now, or if this was also the first month for them to be at Penguin. Do you know off the top of your head?
My scorecard is probably out of date because even if it's 1 day old, it's going to be out of date. So
there you go. So,
it might have been, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, and just as a spoiler, we're going to actually talk a little bit about the Penguin Random House catalog. Which I think is called Panels. Is that the name of it? Was Panels?
Oh gosh, I didn't know it had its own name. I looked at. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's called Panels. If you didn't know,
okay.
So we're actually going to include that. Now, most of the stuff we're going to talk about is still going to be in the Lunar catalog, but we will mention, the panels plural panels catalog from Penguin Random House. Now, there are some publishers that are going the self-publishing route. Now, I got an email, and it may have actually come to the podcast email, but there is something called Philbo Digital. Now, I would have completely ignored this email. However, they are also going to be distributing Billy Tucci's She, so SHI, which is a long-running series, and it's had some moments of popularity in the past. So that is what actually caught my eye. And unfortunately, when you go to their website, they will not actually let you look at pricing or ordering. You have to create an account. So let me double check the name of that. But it was, Philbo Publishing, PHILBO.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and then there was another publisher, and we've received some emails from them in the past. It's SHP Comics. They're going primarily with direct marketing. Now, I think you can still get some of their books from Diamond. I guess I should say you might be able to get some of their books from Diamond. But they've got this new title called The Adventures of Baby Zicky, which is supposed to be like this all-ages book, but it's a bizarre name, probably for a somewhat bizarre title. And then Oni Press is going to be distributing books from Magnetic Press. So I went to the Magnetic Press website, and it seems that they're primarily like international titles. So kind of like your European books. Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to be like Oni is in Lunar. Right. So I don't know if Magnetic is just going to kind of fall into the Oni section of the Lunar catalog. I guess that we'll see here maybe in a month or two. I don't remember seeing any Magnetic Press books this month. And then the last two, and if you want to be in on the ground floor on something, it looks like Jeremy Hahn, he has a new imprint called Ignition Press.
I've heard of that.
So they are going to be launching soon, sometime in 2025. And here's the cool thing about it. If you go to their website, which I think is just ignitionpress.com, and sign on to their mailing list, they're going to send you a digital copy of the Beauty #1 for free at some point here in the next month or so, which, by the way, is being turned into a TV show on FX. And it's the same production crew that did American Horror Story. So, and then the last one I'm going to mention, and this is a Kickstarter. Boom is kickstarting the next Expanse story. That now the last time they did this, they also released it direct. You could actually order it through, Diamond. I think Boom was still with Diamond at the time. I'm ordering this one as well because it's being written by Wes Chatham, who played Amos Burton on the TV show. So those are just some things that are going on publishing as we have all of this, stuff going on with Diamond.
Normally I would say things are just the most confusing I've ever seen them, but everything's relative. And with the tariff situation and all in the U.S. and the rest of the world, that makes this look kind of like normal. So
yeah. So, but this is just, it's we could blame a president for the tariffs, or we could blame Diamond for the tariffs. This is just,
poor Diamond.
Yeah, potato. It all started at Diamond. Who knew
That's
that
funny.
Who knew that comics would drive the world economy?
Oh, God. Yeah. It is just crazy right now, but it's in a way I appreciate the diversification. It's just we hopefully will in the near future land on the next status quo, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Figure out what it is, even if it is
Yeah.
three different. You got to order from three different publishers. At least you know what the three publishers are that you got to order from.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
not publishers, distributors. So.
right. Yeah.
All right. Just like some listener comments on our episode, what was it, 206,
Yep.
where we did our first 5 for Elongated Man. Michael Cathro, our dedicated listener and commenter, complimented Mike on his knowledge of Elongated Man. So there you go, Mike. You can pat yourself on the back. That's what he says. I think this is a backhand compliment. This is what I love about comics. Any character can be somebody's favorite.
Yes. That's I get it though. That's and you know what as Bugs Bunny would say, I resemble that comment.
But he actually also hopes they get Elongated Man and Sue back into the DC universe, particularly the All-In line. He is partial to the Satellite JLA costume. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more opportunity, Mike, to tell us about the Satellite costume and what your favorite costume is.
Well, I mean, in simplest terms, the Satellite costume, which is what I came up, that's how I first learned about. That's what he was wearing when I first experienced Elongated Man, was a black and red costume. It was, his earliest ones in the Flash comics in the Silver Age were kind of a dark purple, not really all that flattering, not much design to it. So I'd say the biggest span of time he was in this black and red, especially throughout the Detective Comics run that he had as a backup story. And then around the time of the relaunch of the Justice League with Giffen, DeMatteis, and Maguire, he came in with Justice League Europe in his light purple and white with the EM, which was a close second. I liked it as well. And there's been a couple other variations, but yeah, definitely the Satellite League costume for me.
Now, he does want to know what your thoughts were on the portrayal of Ralph Dibny in the Flash TV series. Did you watch any of that?
I did. Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I watched that series anyway, and then when I heard that he was going to be on it, I did. I mean, I was there for it as soon as it dropped. Stretchy characters or that particular power is really hard to display with CGI. I think they did as best that they could for the money the budget that they had, but it ended up, the actor, I forget his name, he left the series on a sour note. So that kind of
something he posted online like 10 years previously.
Yeah. So he got, I don't know if the term was even coined yet, but he got canceled. Yeah. And it was unfortunate, and he was a good, just like Julie Shorts said back in the day, or maybe it was Carmen Infantino, he was a good he was a good counter to Flash. He was a good partner in crime because he was light, he was humorous, etc.
And then Michael mentions he appreciated the review of Where Monsters Lie. Says he'd probably check that out in the future. Also, the Alliance Entertainment news. I guess we haven't heard anything new from him about Diamond and the Alliance Entertainment news.
Nope.
So hopefully we'll hear something in the future. He does, kind of bring up the past where it's like when comic book shops had to order from 2 or 3 different distributors. That just made things difficult on the comic shop. So hopefully it won't go back to that, but it kind of looks like that's where we are heading. So
Yeah.
all right. So thank you, Michael, for the comments, and now let's get into the meat of this episode, which is going to be the Next Phase catalog. So Mike, my first thing is on page 12. So do you have anything in Next Phase before page 12?
As my mom would say, Scott, you stinker. Because I think you are picking the one that I had in mind, but you
Well,
go 1st.
I'm going to let you take this. Now, I'm going to let you take this because this also was suggested as something to pick up by Michael Cathro as well. So I guess we got a 3 out of 3 on
Oh
this
yeah,
particular title.
and
So,
I didn't even see Michael's comment until after I'd picked this. But anyway, it's under AWA on page 12 of the Lunar catalog, the Next Phase catalog. It's a title called "They Choose Violence." It's a 5-issue series written by Sheldon Allen, illustrated by Mauricio Campitella, and it's violent. Looks like it's a revenge thriller.
Yep.
Life has really prevented me from doing much research or trying to come up with something to talk about these things. So I'm kind of ad-libbing here. It's not even ad-libbing. I'm just reading directly from it. So you have these 3 HBCU besties.
Historically black colleges and universities.
Okay, thank you. Turn professional career women, enraged by the systemic injustice plaguing their community, band together to form a vigilante squad that targets white supremacists. And that caught my eye because I like the idea of targeting any white supremacist deemed to have circumvented the justice system and gotten away with murder. So that struck a chord, and I don't know anything more really. I've heard of Sheldon Allen. I've heard of the artist. I don't know where, but I come from a background where I can appreciate criminal justice or maybe the lack thereof. So it was something that I marked to pick up just to see if it would, tickle my fancy.
Yeah, and I had this down as well, and I really dig the B cover for this, which is a cover by Kyle Baker. It kind of has that 70s blaxploitation movie kind of feel to it.
It does. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick this up, and as long as it's a 1-for-1 on the B cover, I'm gonna be picking up that B cover as well.
Yeah. As much
But
as
they
we
do
talk
have-
much as we talk about variant covers and different types of covers that people collect, I bet movie poster covers are a category.
Well, back whenever Stray Dogs, right? They had all those horror movie
Right.
cover variants, and those were the popular ones. If I ever had any of those for sale, they sold right away.
Right.
Right. So I didn't have a lot of them, but they did sell. So.
Right.
And there's a multi-page preview for this book here in the Next Phase catalog, and it looks pretty good. So.
Nice.
Yeah. So. All right, and then I'm on page 18. Did you have 18 down as well?
No, of course not.
Okay.
No, that would be too weird. Go ahead.
Well, this is, and I don't really know what to think about this. So this is a one shot called The Purpose Project. Now, apparently, it is from the creators of PBS's A Brief History of the Future. Now, it talks about it living in a future where jobs, because of technology, have become obsolete. So you kind of have this society where everybody's, kind of working off of what they call it, universal basic income. All right, it's this concept that everybody's just going to get paid a flat amount, so that way everybody can live and you kind of do your own thing. But it does advertise itself as satire, so I'm not for sure how serious of a look at the future it's going to be.
Yeah, it's part of that Protopius. Did you say that? Yeah, it's part of that whole anthology stuff that a lot of the Mark Russell books were coming through there. So
Well, I thought
yeah,
that was no. That's a
no,
different.
okay.
Is it part of it? I thought that was Polis was
Oh,
the
that's what I'm
Mark
thinking of. Yeah,
Russell.
yeah.
Yeah, so this is something even different. But yeah, it has the same concept as
It
Polis.
seems like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's interesting. It is just a one shot. So I don't know. I'll probably give it a shot because it shows a couple of pages of interior art, and it doesn't look as strong as They Choose Violence, but it does look
Yeah,
decent. So
yeah, yeah. Well, let's see here.
I'm on 31, so I'm done with AWA. So anything you got before 31?
Trifecta. Go ahead.
All right. Did you have 31 as well?
Yes.
Well, I don't have much to say about it. You go ahead. You got something you want to say about
I
it?
mean, it caught my eye that 100 Days of Death by Ray Ellingson and Scott Colby, illustrated by Mirko Kolak, Paul Little, Shannon Potratz. A man who has always been a loner finds himself the head of a misfit surrogate family when society, as we know it, devolves after an apocalyptic virus virtually destroys humanity. So it was the apocalyptic virus
Mhm.
that caught my eye, a la The Stand, because that's like one of my favorite books of all time. And anything like that seems interesting. It's probably been done many, many times and
Yeah.
not always well, but it was enough to catch my eye and maybe worth a try.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of Walking Dead because it talks about
Sure.
it's actually a variant on the rabies virus that causes people to become violent. Now,
Hmm.
at first glance, I thought this was going to be set in the 60s because the person that they have as the president looks just like JFK in the artwork, and he's even
Yeah.
saying "my fellow Americans," So I was even hearing that in a JFK voice, but it is set because he's talking on his cell phone, and it says 3 years from now, so
Yeah.
it actually is a near future to where we are at now. 68 pages, all self-contained, so it's just a little bit of a survival story.
Now you got JFK's voice going on in my head. Ask not what you can do for what your country can do for you.
There you go. So, and then I'm done till DC. So
Same here.
same
And
here. All right.
if we get the fourth in a row that we both picked, it's
Okay.
that might be a
I'm
record.
gonna bet that you're going to have picked something before my first thing in DC. So my first thing in DC is on page 63.
Okay, you're right. So
Okay.
my first is page 56. It's if all you have is the DC Connect catalog, it's page 5, and it's Wonder Woman number 22. And I only picked this because it has a villain, an obscure villain, you might say an obscure member of Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery, named the Mouse Man. So obscure, I can't say I ever remember hearing of this character, but leave it to Tom King and his team to, you know, pull in a story. Maybe, I mean, I think it was Tom King can probably be credited for giving Kite Man some new life,
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's something. Mouse Man was a character maybe 3 or 4 times appeared in the '60s, and I think it'll be a fun read. It doesn't matter because I'm buying this series
Yeah.
anyway, as you all should. It's just if you were to pick 3 titles a month, Wonder Woman needs to be one of them.
All right. I'm still on 63.
Okay, so I kind of feel obligated, having just talked about Wonder Woman, to bring in on the very next page, page 57, page 6 of the DC Connect, is Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman number 1. Trinity is set in the future. She's was sort of created as a not a sidekick, but as a contemporary of Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent, and she's not really appeared, I don't think, in real time. It's mostly the not too distant future, and she's got her own series now called Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman. Again, written by Tom King and art by Belaine Ortega, who I think did most of those backup strips in Wonder Woman featuring Trinity, which were a lot of fun. So, yeah, I think it's honestly, if you put this character up against some other young characters in the DC universe, I'd say her personality is much more. It's much fun. It's much more fun than what some of the other ones are.
And I just noticed that it has a Dan Hip cover, a 1 in 25 variant. And I know
Oh,
Dan Hip's name from the Marvel Snap card game. He basically has a subset of variant cards. I'm actually not really a fan of his Marvel Snap work, but I just noticed the name here on the. As I was looking through, it's like so it jumped out at me when I saw Dan Hip. So there you go.
okay.
I'm
I'm
still on
good.
63.
I'm good until 67.
Okay, I was just going to point out to you, Mike, on page 63, Absolute Martian Manhunter number 4 does not have interior artwork by Riley Rossmo.
It.
It
You
has
know, I was recently chastised for my my negative thoughts about Riley Rossmo, so I'm keeping it a little bit neutral now. I'm going to give it,
okay.
yeah, I'm going to give this art. In fact, not to plug the roadshow, but a recent trip included a recommendation from the shop to read the first arc of the Absolute Martian Manhunter. So
Ah,
as I always have, I've never turned down a recommendation through the roadshow. I eventually
okay.
am going to read and review this first arc, or however far it goes. Maybe it's just
Okay.
going to be a miniseries. So yeah, you're not going to scare me off with the Riley Osmo or Javier Rodriguez. It's just I know that was the one absolute series that or title that I was maybe not too keen on.
66.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to throw out there Justice League Unlimited number 8. I did start reading this. After our elongated man episode, when you
Yeah.
said he's going to make an appearance in there, I thought, well, I might as well start reading Unlimited. And I was kind of a little thrown off because, oh, great, what do we got? It felt like the Justice League from Rebirth where everything was a worldwide crisis. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, great, we got another worldwide crisis. But I think the real story is about the and it's sort of a spoiler, but I'm just gonna be vague about it. We've got somebody who's apparently a plant inside of the Justice League
Mm.
Unlimited, so I think that's gonna be kind of like the real focus of the story. So
Mm.
that part of it is interesting me. So I'm gonna stick with that at least for a little while.
Cool. I mean, it's almost has to be at least with universe-ending threats.
Hmm.
You've got the entire DC heroic universe at Mark Wade's disposal, and Mark Wade knows how to pick them. I mean, you just even look at this cover, Justice League Unlimited number 8. You even see the uh, what was his name? The future Batman, Terry with
Oh yeah, but Batman Beyond.
yeah, Batman Beyond. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does that fit in here? But I'm with Wade. I am. I will trust him, and I'm enjoying it immensely. And I think this is like going to be Wade's heyday. This is like his, I think, magnum opus, where you know, he's been waiting for the right opportunity to come back to DC to some of his favorite characters, and it should be fun to keep track of.
And speaking of Mark Wade, Mike, why don't you
Hmm.
talk to us about what's on page 67, which is page 16 in the DC Connect catalog?
Right. Okay. So everybody, well, many people should remember if you were around in the 80s reading comics. Right after the crisis, there was sort of a crisis adjacent or the result of the crisis, basically the reset book to show readers this is what the history of the DC universe is now, that we've collapsed all of these alternate dimensions into one. No more Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, etc. They all shared the same history, so that meant bringing in everybody from Anthro, the what was he, a cave boy? I don't know. The Anthro, the first boy,
Mm-hmm.
to uh, Commandy, the last boy, and
Commandy.
everybody in
Mm-hmm.
between, all are on one timeline or on one Earth. And so, as these things happen, uh, the universe doesn't, a reboot doesn't stay. It doesn't stick very long, and they almost immediately started tweaking things. But over the years, the continuity of the DC universe has become so muddled that it's hard for even the most ardent fans to follow. And I love continuity. I know some people
Hmm.
are like, oh, it's just as long as it's a great story. Yeah, I love a great story too, but I need the context. I
Yeah.
need to know that, I just don't think there's been a really great answer to all of the reboots over the years.
Hmm.
I don't know if this is it, but I think we have a better chance now than we ever did with Mark Waid. And get this, art by Jerry Ordway and Todd Nauck,
Yep.
cover by Chris Samney. I
Hmm.
mean, I just don't think there's ever going to be a better chance than to kind of put things in a regular status quo that we can recognize and appreciate and have fun with. It's a 4 issue mini series. They're all 48 pages, cardstock. Yeah, I might even get more than one copy of this. I just really feel like this is. I'm going to have a reader copy and I'm going to have a shelf copy, or I may get a hard book
Well,
someday,
there you
hardback.
go. Well, so at least we know that DC is going to have an established history for 4 months.
Yeah,
And then after
yeah,
four
yeah,
months, then
yeah.
it's going to be
Uh,
it's not going to matter anymore. But for 4 months, while this book is coming out, DC will have a history. So now this book is also seconded by Michael Cathro. All right,
yeah.
and we have to talk about the extra variants. The Legacy variant is amazing because it has hundreds of characters
Oh yeah,
on the Legacy variant. So it's on, if you've got a catalog, it's on page 68 of the next phase. It's on page 17 of the DC Connect. There is just this amazing cover.
it's
So
it's it's. I mean, it's Where's Waldo type
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
I mean, so many characters that
Hmm.
it's almost it's. I mean, I think it would be fun to go through there and try to figure out if you can identify everybody.
Oh yeah.
You know, but
Hopefully they'll have one of those guides like they had in that Superman versus Muhammad Ali, where they outline everybody and
right,
put a number and tell you who
yeah.
it is.
Or whenever George Perez and Alex Ross teamed up on the recreation of the Crisis cover,
Hmm.
where it's well, I want to say recreation, but they did an adaptation of some of the Crisis characters showing everybody that appeared in Crisis, villain, hero like, and it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then the foil variant is also really, really cool. It doesn't quite have the number of characters, but it does have a lot of legacy legacy characters for DC, which is kind of cool.
yeah,
It's like for some reason Etrigan feels a little out of place with the rest of these characters,
yeah.
but okay, hey, it's all right. So because I feel like he's the newest character on that second cover, don't you? I don't really see anybody else who wasn't around for quite a long time prior to. I mean,
Ooh,
before that, maybe Jonah Hex or Unknown Soldier would be the next newest character, right?
I think you're right. I mean, you figure Etrigan was early '70s. He was a
Mm-hmm.
Kirby creation.
Yeah.
Everybody else was either they were all sort of like World War II or
Mm-hmm.
1800, like Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
You got the Justice Society.
But I just mean when the character first appeared, like Sergeant Rock was in the '60s,
Oh no, he was in the
right?
'50s. Yeah.
'50s. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. And now, okay, so Jonah Hex may have been in the '60s.
Nope.
No.
He was like Weird War Tales or something like that, or
Yeah.
Weird Western Tales. He
Okay.
was in the late '60s, early '70s. So
Oh, okay. So he was not too far before Etrigan then.
yeah, probably
Oh,
not.
okay. All
Yeah,
right. So,
but then you also got like the Silent Knight and the Viking Prince
hmm.
and Captain Comet. I mean, if
Oh, well, Captain Comet's
well,
a
no,
very new
50s.
character.
No.
Seriously?
Yeah, he was in
Oh, I'm
like
thinking. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Comet Man from Marvel, not Captain Comet.
and now you got me wondering about all these. I'm trying to figure out who they all are.
Well, you say that for later. So,
Okay, okay.
well, okay. While you're looking, let me jump down to page 69. Just want to point out New Gods number 7. Still enjoying this. Later in this issue, we have the first trade, which collects 1 to 6. So I
Hmm.
guess that means what we'll be doing when we get around to our New Gods story is doing issues
Yeah.
1 through 6. So if you want to be picking those up, read along with us. That'd be great. In
Yep.
the near future, we will be doing a New Gods 1 through 6, both New Gods 1 through 6.
Yep.
The Ram V and the Kirby at the same time.
Yep.
And I'm done with DC, so the rest of the DC catalog is all you.
Let's see. I've got page 75 is Crypto gets his very first, or well, I don't know if it's the very first title. Maybe he's had one before. I don't know. Crypto, the Last Dog of Krypton. It features a pretty striking cover by Jay Lee. It jumps out at me, but also it's written by Ryan North. Who is this his first DC work? I mean, he's always been known as a Marvel writer, I
No
think.
idea.
But Mike Norton is doing the interiors, and I'm sure they're capitalizing on Crypto's appearance in the new Superman
Yep.
movie. I am glad, though, it looks like he's got the traditional look. He doesn't have that kind of wire haired terrier look that the movie has, which was the only kind of off putting thing I seen in that trailer. But yeah, so I'm not buying every Superman title right now, but I think I'm going to buy this. And you said you're done with DC?
I am done with DC. Yep.
Okay, so I'm not sure why I marked. Oh, Titans number 24 on page 78. And oh, it's the supposed maybe return of Terra, who was, an integral part of the Titans, especially the Judas Contract storyline where she ultimately turned out to be a villain and that was conspiring with Deathstroke. And yeah, so she's back in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if she's going to be good or bad or whatever. But this series has been picked up, or it's been written by John Layman for a while now, and I mean he's done a lot of work. He's done a lot of creator-owned stuff. I want to say Chew was the one that you and I and
Oh, okay.
Shad reviewed. He was the writer on it, and Pete Woods is the artist. So I just wanted to point that out.
They're definitely leaning into the villain aspect because it's a terrible day for the Titans,
Yeah,
who are attacked by a terrifying villain intent on terrorizing our heroes.
yeah. I'm not even gonna add to that.
Yeah, no. What can you add to something like
No,
that?
right,
So,
yeah. Lastly, on page 90, which is page 39 of the DC Connect, is a facsimile edition. I don't always pick up all of the facsimiles, but I do certain ones, and this is an iconic cover, Batman number 9. It's where he and Robin are, the spotlight is shining on them against a wall, and they got their cowls up and their hand up, and it's just a classic cover. And I think I'd pay the doggone $7 just for that cover, just for a pretty version of that cover, because I'll never have the original. But yeah, that's all for me in DC.
all right. So I am actually good in the Next Phase catalog until a page 166.
Oh my.
So
Well,
I don't know what you've got before that.
I've got I've got 153,
Okay.
and it's an offered again. So sue me if I'm getting redundant or repetitive. It's a hardcover edition of Spectators. It I don't know when this originally came out, but it's a Brian K. Vaughan story. It's 344 pages for $30. Science fiction, literary, romance, and it says in the solicit, putting the graphic back in the graphic novel. So it's basically supernatural romance, taking a hard look at sex and violence and the very different ways we obsessively watch both. So I don't know. I could probably read this.
I'll let you read it, Mike, if that's what you want to
Oh,
do.
all right, cool. Thank you. Where'd you say you were?
So I'm at 166.
Well, I got 165. It's
Okay.
unfortunately it's like how do I miss these things? I know Lazarus is it's been around for a while by Rucka and Lark, the iconic team, and I love the premise, and yet I've never read a single issue of it. But this is Lazarus Fallen, and it collects Lazarus volume 1 through 7, and which means holy cow, that doesn't make sense.
No,
I'm getting
no.
some contradicting information because it says it's 32
This is
pages.
this is the first issue of the final series about Forever Carlisle. is what it says.
Right.
So
And I down below I seen the offered again. I think that must be the Lazarus volumes 1 through 7. So
yeah, so if you
they're
need to catch
yeah.
up, you can pick
Yeah.
up those
Yeah.
trades. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting at. Now I'm thinking either way, I really would like to get into this series at some point. So I had it marked down. So your turn.
So on 166, also from Image, we have News from the Fallout. This is a 6-issue series set in 1962, where basically a nuclear test just goes wrong, and they are actually deliberately subjecting themselves to this test. It ends up polluting the atmosphere, so you have one survivor who is trying to find someplace safe. Now it's kind of presented in like a grainy black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to go through the entire series or not, but this was also mentioned by Michael Cathro as well as something he's going to be picking up.
Yeah. It's the art's sort of reminiscent of I forget the artist on uh it's the James Tynan series all about conspiracies. Totally forgot the name of the series now.
Oh, Department of
Yeah,
Truth?
Department of Truth. It's not quite as extreme as that, but along those lines, I think. Hmm.
Then I'm done until 229.
I always like to plug the Doug Wagner series. There is the third issue of 5. I was a fashion school serial killer. It's it's out. It'll be coming out in this catalog. So if you're following that, make sure you reserve your copy. And then lastly, you said you're still in.
No, I'm at 229.
Okay,
229 is where I'm at.
okay, 203. Real quick. I don't know how this all works. It's under Image, but it's Jim Aparo's DC Classics Artist Edition. So if you like artist editions, here's where you can get a hardcover of it. Uh, Aparo, tomato, tomato. He's a lot of people's. If you ask him to pick a Batman artist, he's going to be who most or a lot of people will pick. So, and probably me too. Between him and Don Newton, I really like Don Newton as well. But Aparo was just more prolific, and he was everywhere. So, um, yeah, it's a 216 page full color book. It's hardcover. It's $150, and if you like to collect cool art, I'd say this is a good pickup for you.
See, it looks like page 225. This is a shout out from Michael Cathro on Endless Night. This is a new 4-issue series. Supernatural horror, gritty noir mystery, written by Mark London, art by Tom Derenick. So, from Mad Cave. And Mad Cave's had some good stuff.
They have.
The art looks pretty solid. So, Endless Night.
Cool.
Now, this is the one that I want to talk about, and this was also another Michael Cathro, but I beat him to this one. So, this is Blue Palo Verde. Basically, you have a woman who is released from prison, and when she travels home to the American Southwest, she basically has to rescue her father from some bizarre and unnatural threat.
What page is that on?
So that is on page 229. This is also from Mad Cave.
Okay.
And I think that looks like a pretty solid story. And they give you 4 pages of preview art and story, and it was enough to make me want to know what page 5 was.
Yeah.
So that's always a good sign. So I'm going to pick that up to see what goes on page 5.
Well, not too far past that is also from Mad Cave. Don't forget your briefcase. It's on page 233. It's basically about the football, the nuclear, the briefcase that has the codes to launch a nuclear strike. It's been lost. It's not something you want to have lost. And it's the story about what happens when a 10-year-old boy finds it and accidentally brings the world to the brink of annihilation. So my contention is it doesn't take a 10-year-old boy to put the world at the brink of annihilation, but This might be kind of fun. Let's see who the Elliot Rahal. I don't know that person, and the artist is Philip Sevy. So the art's kind of on the cartoonish side, but not at all. It's not something I wouldn't read. It reminds me a bit of like the Great British Bump Off, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not put a page number for my next thing, so it's
Oopsie.
in massive indies. So I'm still trying to find it as the PDF continues to draw here. I've made it down to magma, so I know it's past 265. So do you have anything before 265?
I got 254,
Okay.
and I know this has been. I've seen this before, but and I can't remember if I've even mentioned it. But we have the Rome Eternal is a. It's basically a story, and I think this looks like a collection of the original series, but it's by writer Homero Rios and artist Diego Yapur, and it's basically in a world where the Roman Empire never fell, but it stands at the brink of collapse now. So the art is really what catches my eye. The colors are fantastic. The art is very detailed and realistic. It looks fantastic. I don't know what was keeping me from getting it before, but I think I will get at least the collection of it. Yep.
279 is where I am.
I'm done with Lunar.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Yep.
actually, I've got a few more things here in Lunar. So
Okay.
now this is from Massive Indies. So Massive Indies is one of the answers to the diamond thing that's going on. Massive is going to be, distributing some independent publishers through Lunar. So the first one, and this is a very, I don't know, aggressive. I don't know if that's the right word. Project that we have. It's called Never Wars. And issue number
Oh
one
yeah.
is Dorothy Oz. And what's crazy about this issue is that apparently it is free to retailers with no limit. Now, I that's just craziness. But I sure there has to be some type of limit to that. Like I want 1 million copies
Right. Right. Yeah.
of Never Wars number one. So yeah, I'm sure there's some limit in there, which is reflective on what a company would normally order of any particular book. But
Yeah.
what's so in addition to that, you have the Never Wars Dorothy Oz, then you have Georgie Wonderland, then you have Peter Neverland. So
Yeah.
that is obviously some type of crossover between The Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter
Peter.
Pan going
Yeah.
on in this. So, and it's called the Never Wars.
I
So we
think
have
I.
three issue ones.
Yeah. I think I ordered the Neverland solicit. The book that was it was last month. I think was the Peter Pan part of this. I think.
Okay.
I
Oh,
think.
okay.
I don't. I don't know. I'm still my head spinning with all these different changes and stuff, but
Yeah.
I do remember this sort of this
Okay.
licensed property crossover. Yep.
Well, yeah. So that's big going on. So the Great War reaches into the realms of legends.
Yeah.
So, and then let's see. Yeah, this was those three to start with. All right, Oni Press. We have Blood Type number one. This is a 4 issue series. It is a continuation of one of the stories from Epitaphs from the Abyss, which was those horror anthologies. This one is written by Karina Bechko and art by Andrea
Mm.
Sorrentino.
That's always
So,
good.
yeah, so they have several variant covers for this. While I'm here in Oni Press, I want to throw out Biker Mice from Mars, new ongoing, suggested by Michael Cathro for all those Nacelle-verse and 80s and 90s toy fans. Next thing, this is Benjamin number one. This is basically a extremely popular science fiction writer, a la Philip K. Dick, passes away in 1982, and he wakes up in 2025 and gets to solve his own murder. So 3 issues, not a big commitment. I like the concept. So yeah, I'm going to be picking up Benjamin. That's going to be, I think, a cool story.
It's interesting that the author's name is Ben as well. So Ben
Oh,
Winters, yeah, and
mm-hmm.
then name of the title is Benjamin. So
There
not
you
sure how
go.
much of it is a autobiography or not.
Well, theoretically, none of it would be an
No, it
autobiography,
wouldn't
but
be. 'Cause,
that would be interesting if it were. Even
right.
more so. So, yeah, and then let's see. I think that's everything I have out of the Lunar catalog. So I don't forget, let me go ahead and throw out some of these other titles that Michael Cathro suggested.
Yep.
And these may be in Penguin or Diamond. I didn't find these. So we have We Are VR Troopers #1.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is a Thundercats Powerpuff Girls crossover. I assume that's going to be from Dynamite. He says he loves Thundercats, but he's not sure about this crossover. Then in Marvel, there's the giant size Age of Apocalypse. So he's going to go back to that 80s. Was it 80s or 90s or even 2000s? I can't remember when the Age of Apocalypse was at Marvel. So it's going to be returned to that universe at Marvel. And then there's a new FF series. I'm not for sure if he's talking about the anthology series or there's yet another new FF series. We'll have to check that when we go through Marvel. And
Yep.
then I think the last one I have down as a suggestion from Michael Cathro is Cursed Verse, Blighted Dawn, and I don't remember seeing that one at all. So I'm not sure where that particular recommendation came from. So if we see it, we'll shout it out later on. Again, so.
Hey, can I have a quick add-on here
You
that I didn't
absolutely can.
So I spoke about Out of Alcatraz #1 a while back. Maybe it was 2 months ago, but #4 is solicited this month, and I read #1 and it was really good. It's basically a what if story if the inmates that escaped Alcatraz had lived, and it's the story after they escaped. And, it's really intriguing. And Christopher Cantwell, you can't go wrong with him as the writer. So I do encourage people, if they have a chance, to pick up the first 3 issues as well as ordering #4.
All right, on to Marvel.
Sure.
All right. Well, in Marvel, we got the new crossover because we needed it. Imperial. So we're
Yeah.
going cosmic. Now, the only thing really positive that I can say about this initially is that it is going to be helmed by Jonathan Hickman. So, yeah, so we're going to have Shi'ar and Kree and Skrull, assumingly, and lots of, the world, I want to call it the world of Wakanda, but that's not right. Oh gosh, this came from the not oh gosh, the Coates run on Black Panther.
Yeah.
The worldwide or the Empire. Maybe it's like the Empire of Wakanda, the galaxy-wide Empire of
Right.
Wakanda, or something like that. So all of those are going to be part of this, cosmic story. 4 issues, helmed by Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah. A new galactic order.
There you go. So, page 8, we've got Marvel Knights: The World to Come. This is a 6 issue. Now they're billing this as the future of the Marvel Universe is here. Okay, we've never heard that before. But this is what kills me. The King of Wakanda is dead. Okay, remember that phrase. I just want to just put that in your brain. Okay, but this is, I guess, what's interesting about this one to me. Story by Joe Quesada and Christopher Priest, of course, who had the great run on Black Panther, and then also lots of other titles. But
Yeah.
kind of the standout for me is the Black Panther run. This is also kind of a return to that Marvel Knights storyline.
Yeah.
So, 6-issue series. This will be a wait and see story for me. I will definitely not be ordering this. I'll pick it up on digital. But yeah, the King of Wakanda is dead. So
You
apparently
think?
T'Challa is dead.
Do you think with Boseman having passed, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, do you think this is maybe a way that they're trying to set the stage for a future Black Panther storyline with future?
I tell you what. Why don't you ask me that question when we get to page 29?
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
just hold that. Hold your questions.
Okay.
All right. You got anything before 14?
No, I don't.
Okay, so on page 14, this is also one that I think Michael Cathro said he was in on this one. This is New Thunderbolts. Now, I've already lost. Oh, I scrolled way too far. I'm down at page 23. So, New Thunderbolts. Now, this is a odd mix of a team. So they are capitalizing on the Thunderbolts movie that's going to be coming out. Of course, only one of these characters actually will be in the Thunderbolts movie, which is the Winter Soldier. You have a Black Widow in the Thunderbolts movie, but not this Black Widow in the Thunderbolts movie.
Right.
And to me, the Thunderbolts are supposed to be bad guys pretending to be good guys. So here you just have kind of anti-heroes kind of joining together, so it's a little different take.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't quite fit the Thunderbolts mold, but okay. They have some characters they're not using anyplace else, so they just put them here.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if it's any good or not.
Right.
Then on page 19, we have Bring On the Bad Guys. So there are going to be 7 one-shots from Marvel, and the first is featuring Doom. So Bring On the Bad Guys, Doom 1. This is going to be followed by Green Goblin, the oddball in this group, Abomination, Loki, Red Skull, Dormammu, and Mephisto. So, but yeah, Bring On the Bad Guys. I assume it's going to be a 1 per month, but maybe next month they'll double them up. So
Yeah. Huh.
24. The title of this series scares me. We have The Death of the Silver Surfer, 5-issue series written by Greg Pak. So Silver Surfer's final voyage, question mark. So we got a 5-issue series about the Silver Surfer, allegedly his death, but we know how deaths are in all the comic book universes. I do also want to point out that we have a foil variant by Ron Lim, who was my defining Silver Surfer artist back in the day.
Yeah. I couldn't have told you a thing about Silver Surfer, a couple years ago, or before we did that review of the Dan Slott run and All Red run. So I had this marked down as well that I would probably pick it up just to see what a new creative team could give us as readers. So I'm going to pick it up as well.
All right, page 29. So, Mike, let's talk about this book, and then you can ask me that question you were going to ask me earlier again.
Okay.
Avengers number 27, in big, bold print, the return of the Black Panther. While T'Challa was away, the Master of Evils were at play. With the rest of the Avengers tied up with Dr. Doom, the Masters of Evil have been plotting the downfall of the Avengers from the inside. Can Black Panther's return turn the tide? So, guess who's already back? In the same Marvel previews, by the way. Yeah, in the same month. Is The King Was Dead, Long Live the King.
So it's not a dream. It's not an alternate Earth. It's not a what if. It's just contradicting story. See, that's what I'm talking about, continuity. Come on, if you can't make it make sense.
Where are the Marvel editors is what I want to know.
Right. That's aggravating.
So yeah, this character's not going anyplace.
But if between the two, I forget who was writing the other Black Panther book, or the other book featuring him. But Jed MacKay, I do like his writing. So if I had to pick,
that was the Quesada Christopher Priest. Was it Marvel Knights? Right? Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's.
Oh yeah, I might be mixed
Priest.
them up.
That's a pretty heavy hitter there. So.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the new No, that's not the new Fantastic Four series. That's just continuation of the Fantastic Four series. So I don't know if there's a second Fantastic Four series. I don't know. On 33, we have Marvel Rivals Ignite #1. Now, if you follow computer games at all, and as long as you have not had your head in the sand, Marvel Rivals is like the big new online game that's going on. So they, of course, have a comic about it. So I don't know if this is a... They've had some Marvel Rivals comics on Unlimited. I don't know if this is a new story or if this is a reprint of some of those digital stories. They don't really say, so that makes me think maybe it's a new story.
Yeah. Peach Momoko.
And then I'm on 50.
I was also on 50, but
Then you go ahead,
you're
because
the Marvel guy, though. I can't.
that's all right. I've already talked a bunch about Marvel.
Okay, so Ghost Rider versus Galactus. That might seem like a somewhat lopsided affair, but it is by J. Michael Straczynski, and I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't know that I've read a single Ghost Rider story, Scott. So
Okay.
I mean, it just seems like a mismatch to me. But Ghost Rider is the spirit of vengeance, so maybe he's got specter-like powers, depending on the rider. So maybe Johnny Blaze can hold his own against, Mr. Galactus.
So, yeah, this is like the fourth
Mm-hmm.
of the JMS stories. Of course, we started with Rocket and Doom,
Yeah.
and then was it Captain America and Volstagg, and then Nick Fury and Fin Fang Foom.
Yep.
Now we've got Ghost Rider and
Really
Galactus. I mean, we
unusual
get
pair-ups. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's what this is. It's odd that they put verses in the title.
Right.
I don't know how much they've used verses in the other ones,
I don't
but
think. Yeah. I don't think they did. It didn't jump out at
again,
me. Yeah.
this is the closest thing as we're going to get to a Brave and the Bold from Marvel. I think
Right.
is these stories like this. So I'm yeah, I had that
But
one down too, and I'm definitely ordering it.
but you bring up a good point. I mean, a lot of people love team ups, especially if they have like a rotating. You could do different story arcs by different big creators,
Hmm.
and you can it gives them just a platform for some to tell an interesting story without any commitment. And I mean, it worked for Brave and the Bold. I just can't imagine why they wouldn't want to try that on the Marvel side.
I mean, they've had Marvel team up in the
Well,
past,
of
and Marvel
course,
two and
yeah,
one, and
yeah,
they've had them. So
yeah.
just none of them. I mean, none of those team up type books. Like I shouldn't say this and it be recorded, but I mean, how many of them in the recent past have lasted more than
Yeah,
just a few issues? You know, it's.
yeah.
I mean, Marvel team up went 150 issues. How many issues did Brave and the Bold end up going?
200.
Okay, but I mean, nothing is going to be like that now. You know,
No,
so.
nope, nope.
My last thing's on 115 in Marvel.
I'm done with Marvel.
Okay, so and I'm just throwing this out there because I get a chance to talk about ROM. So page 115, we have the second of the Epic collection. So this is the soft cover collection. For ROM covers, let's see, up to issue 33 and the first annual, and then ROM's crossover in Power Man and Iron Fist number 73. So I've already bought the hardcovers, so I'm not buying the Epic collections. But if you want them in cheaper format, there you go.
Cool.
Okay. Penguin Random House panels.
Yeah, this is
I've got two
yeah.
things here. How
Okay.
many do you have?
2.
Okay. Well, you go first, and we'll just round robin them.
Oh, well, unfortunately, let's see here. Okay, so the first I have is on page 12, and this is on the online side, of course, for those that want to check it out. But on page 12 of their online catalog, it's a Dark Horse comic called Tex Arcanum. Well, Scott and I don't live too terribly far from Texarkana, Texas, right on the border with Arkansas. But yeah, this is apparently a supernatural story. Ghosts and gods, angels and demons, horror stories and tall tales, and it's all featuring a cowboy arcanist named Avery Bell, and apparently he's been around all of these creatures for long. It's a 4 issue series. I don't know. It was the first thing I think first thing in the catalog actually. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I kind of like the sound of it. So I marked it down.
Yeah. That was one of my two as well. I had that one down as something that I don't know if this is. It's it's got the Midwest, and that's kind of where we kind of reside, but it's not. I'm
Yeah.
not for sure about it. The artwork look, at least the cover art looks a little sloppy to me. But I don't know. I'm just not sure about it yet. But I did
Yeah.
have it down. That was one of my two that I had as well. So
Yeah.
all right. So my second one is just a few pages past that on page 15. Also from no, this is from Boom. Excuse me. Be Not Afraid, number one. I don't know the description. Equal parts feminist rage and folk horror. So, yeah, it's a cosmic horror through the lens of Southern Gothic. So, it's kind of a horror story. Not for sure. This is one that I wish I had some preview pages for, so I could feel like I can make a more educated decision about whether or not I actually wanted to pick it up. So I may or may not grab it. I put the note down just to give it when I place my order to give it a second look.
Yep.
So
My last one in this catalog is actually issue 4 of a title that I can't remember if I mentioned in previous episodes or not, but it's the sequel to The Great British Bump Off. It's called The Great British Bump Off Kill or Be Quilt. It's by John Allison and Max Sarin. These these two guys, they might be one of the best creative comedic teams I've ever read. The Great British Bump Off was one of the funnest things I've ever read. It was just so well done. The visual humor, the puns, it was a riot. So I definitely am going to be getting this if I haven't already. I can't remember if I've started ordering or not, but yeah. So if not, I'm gonna have to do some. I missed it before, and I'm gonna have to do some catching up.
that was because we both had Tex Arcanum, so that kind of finishes me off in panels as well. Now, if you have not looked at the panels catalog before, it does include all the Marvel books as well. So we covered all those. We're just going through
Sure.
the Marvel catalog. It's also fairly lengthy. It's 228 pages, so it's about the same size as the Lunar catalog. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good sized from Pink, and you can get this just by going to, I think it's just prhcomics.com. I think is what the website is, and you can see that catalog and flip through it as well. So, and last, and I guess least, we got the Pullbox site. So I've got how many do I got? I got one comment and three things from Pullbox here. So
I really don't have anything in
okay,
Pullbox.
well I'll go quick then. So
Okay.
first thing I want to comment is that the Dynamite section, and there's not really anything in Dynamite that I want to recommend, but in the Dynamite section is also all the Dynamic Forces stuff. So I don't know if that's just a mistake that they made. I didn't think
Yeah.
that Dynamic Forces was part of Dynamite, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed that myself and was wondering the same thing.
Okay, so that just kind of threw me. So just throwing that out there. All right, so the first thing I have is from. Okay, let me collapse the Dynamite section because it's way too long because of the number of variants that they have. And go to the comics and graphic novels. Do a quick search here for Cosmic Lion. So we have from Cosmic Lion Ghost Agents. And actually, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this was a Kickstarter project a while back, and a guy I know from Evansville, Indiana, Todd Fox, has some
Oh,
artwork in this particular story. So
cool.
it's Ghost Agents. I think I might actually already own this. I have. Okay, here they are. Believe it or not, they're over here in my to read pile. So they're different covers than what is here. But I don't know if this is if what he has is a compilation, or if it's the first or the newest one, or
Yeah.
what. There's one I didn't order because Todd Fox didn't have any work in it, so I didn't
Yeah.
order like the third one. And I think there's a fourth one that's on Kickstarter now, and this might be the same as that fourth one. I'm not for sure, but I saw Todd Fox's name in the catalog. I had to give him a shout out. So next we've got from Black Sand Entertainment. And Mike, I actually wanted to mention this one for you because I know you occasionally say that you're looking for like comics for younger readers.
Yeah, for my
So
grandkids. Yeah.
now this doesn't say that it's all ages, but so it's Cosmic Girls follows the journey of Karina, a 13-year-old war orphan who becomes a bounty hunter for the United Empire of Earth in a distant future. So I don't know. If you love science fiction adventures, you will love Cosmic Girls. So I don't know. It might be something to check into.
Yeah.
Now it has a number 2 on the cover, which makes me think, is this the second volume? It doesn't say that it's a second volume. So, but yeah, Cosmic Girls kind of sounds like it sounds like it's a young reader's type of a comic to me.
Yeah, I pick up these young readers, especially if they're girl centric, because I've got two granddaughters, both of them that are of reading age, and especially the older one. She just is just devouring books now. So I like to get stuff like that that would appeal to her.
Okay, so I saw that and I thought of you, Mike. So
Well, geez, I'm I'm flattered.
and then the last thing that I have is this is under collectibles and novelties. They are releasing. It's already time for the 2026 calendars. So we have the Marvel Classic Blacklight 2026 poster calendar. So this has, it says it's got 12 ready to frame prints, but I am assuming that they're, it's they don't show all the details, but we've got a calendar for 2026 that recreates some or part or all of some of the Blacklight posters from the 70s. So, and that's from Harry N. Abrams. So,
I never had a black light poster, but I did have a lava lamp.
oh,
Hey, I want to go back to. I know I could not find it in the previews catalog because, duh, Tomorrow's has moved. So I failed to
into
bring
Lunar,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, they're in Lunar. So I didn't. I don't know if I'll get either one of these, but I do want to mention because I really love Tomorrow's publications. They've got the two big ones are Back Issue and Alter Ego. So Back Issue this month is featuring the Weapon X storyline. So that could probably be a lot of fun. I'll probably get it anyway, just because I buy probably as many reference books and magazines about comics as I do comics. And then Alter Ego number 195 is a Neil Adams revisited. So you can't get enough of Neil Adams, really. He was an interesting guy. He did a lot for the industry, did a lot for creators. So anyway, and plus, if you don't want to get these magazines through any of the distributors, go directly to the Tomorrow's website. They need people to buy directly from them to help them out, because I'm always worried they're just going to not be able to do it anymore. So, yeah.
Well, Mike, do you have anything? Do you have anything you're looking forward to?
I don't have to think very long at all about that. It's the new history of the DC universe. It's with a tiny bit of apprehension because, I mean, the Marv Wolfman, George Perez original version set the standard. They set the high water mark. But I still have a lot of faith in Mark Waid and whoever's working with him on it.
Well, obviously that history has changed, so
Yeah,
it
of course,
doesn't line
yeah.
up with the current DC universe.
Right, yeah.
I assume you have that first history of the DC universe.
In a couple different formats, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I am actually looking forward to that 3-issue series, Benjamin, about the sci-fi writer who.
Oh, really?
Gets to investigate his own death. I think that I just don't know why. That's just tickling something,
Yeah.
So I'm definitely picking that up. Gonna get all 3, sit down and read it when it comes in. Sit down and read all 3 at once, and just hope for the best. Do you have something you want to throw out as an investment pick, Mike?
It's a roulette wheel. I mean, you can put all of the books that I talked about or that you talked about it on a roulette wheel, and I could spin it and have just as much luck in picking a good investment pick. But let's go with the Death of the Silver Surfer. Let's just say that.
You are the worst at this.
I am. That's why I know, man. I only do it because you make me.
I don't make you. You can just
Well,
foul
you know what I
out,
mean. I can't be. I remember Dan one time when he was on the show. He gave me all kinds of crap. You got to come up with something. I'm like, okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so listener, do not buy Death of the Silver Surfer only if you're wanting to make money off of comics. That's not going to do you any good. Just going to tell you that now. Okay. So I'm going to give you three, but this is also a roulette wheel of three here. So the three that I think could potentially be something are I'm going to double dip on Benjamin, right?
Okay.
Because I think that's an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They choose violence. That one with the team of women going after white supremacists, that absolutely could turn into something. And the Blue Palo Verde, the story of the released convict who's investigating the supernatural events in the Southwest around her father. I think all three of those could be picked up. I don't think there are going to be like these huge books, but I do think they have a shot at, maybe selling for $15-20 in the future as opposed to, $1 in a dollar bin someplace.
Yeah. Well, anybody that knows me, not to listen to my investment advice, but
I did have I did have another one of my. Well, actually, I don't remember if I picked this one in the past. You might have even picked this one in the past, Mike.
Yeah.
But we had a very brief blip for Tom King's Love Everlasting.
Oh, really?
It jumped up to about $20 last week.
Oh my!
For Love Everlasting #1, but now you can pick them up for $3.99 again. So it got picked up. So if you were on the spot, guess who was not on the spot? I grabbed my 4 copies, sat down to put them up on eBay, and they had already dropped down to $3.99. It's like,
oh my gosh!
I was like, man, I missed my 24-hour window. I could have made some money. So.
See, that's why I would rather go wash someone's car or mow their grass than try to sell comics, because I just can't do it.
All right, Mike. Besides podcasts at birdcomics.com, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where could they do that at?
I'm getting more and more where I think it's best for me just first to say, I right now you got Michael Cathro, you got Eric from the Long Box Review. They're the two we get feedback from the most for Campus Comics Cast, and they do it through our Facebook page, Campus Comics Cast Facebook page. So I say that first because that's where I'm going to look first. But I don't always look in a timely manner either. So if you want something to catch my attention, I always check my emails every day. So send something to mike@comicshoproadshow.com, or you already said the podcast one, didn't you? At Bird Comics.
Podcast at birdcomics.com, yep.
Or even like on Blue Sky, if you put it to my attention, I will get a notification, and I will certainly read it and respond.
All right. And I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, BURG comics.com, where there are links to my social media pages and eBay store. And we'll be back with episode 208 or 209, which we haven't even said what we're going to do in episode 209.
We haven't.
So that's going to be a surprise to you and to us.
That's
so
right.
Check back then and see what we decide on.
To read, and it's not on the app. I'm so bummed out.
Oh.
I wanted us to read Marvel Team Up 79.
Okay, it's not on the Marvel app?
It's not on the Marvel app. I think it's because it has Red Sonja in it.
Oh,
So I
bet.
think they had to pull it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had picked up a copy, but man, it was super dusty, and I was like, I don't want to read this.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to try to track down a couple of copies of it at some point. But it's what happens. It's kind of a Red Sonja, a little bit of Conan, and Spider-Man crossover. And
Yeah.
it's set in the modern Marvel universe at the time. This is like in the late 70s, early 80s when this book came out. And Mary Jane somehow gets possessed by, I guess, the spirit of Red Sonja, so she basically becomes Red Sonja.
Yeah.
And one of the sorcerers that was the villain for Conan and Red Sonja is like being revived at the time. So it's got this old sorcerer, it's got Spider-Man, it's got sort of Mary Jane Watson, sort of Red Sonja. That's the team up part. I just remember it being this really, really cool story when I was young.
Yeah.
So I wanted to read it again, and so maybe at some point, if I can track down a couple of copies of that.
We might find it somewhere online or something. We might be able to. Shad always is good at finding that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do that if we could.
No, but it's just a Warner, so